Hi everyone, so today I want to show you a little box that, well, it's not a box, it's a card that I saw someone make something similar, but then I've also kind of merged it with other things. You know me, this is what I like to do. So this was my first attempt, so I just did a white on white and I used Paper Mill Direct smooth white card for this, and I just cut out some little houses and laid them in, made a little frame for them, and then I put some lights in, so when you switch it on, the whole thing lights up, and I think it's quite cool. I deliberately used the coloured lights because I just thought it was really nice to go from having a white card, plain white card, and then suddenly you get this pop of colour. I just think that's so beautiful, especially with, you know, the dark days, Christmas, you know, November, December, it tends to be a bit dull, doesn't it? And it's the sort of thing you could obviously, you know, bring out year after year and have as a Christmas decoration, because you can actually, these lights, you can actually change the batteries on them. So you could just keep using them year after year. So yeah, so we're going to do it slightly differently this time, because this was a bit of a challenge to make, because to try and stick all the houses down and get them in the frame and get the aperture on the front, and it was a bit of a mission. So we're going to do a slightly simpler version of this, but still with the lights. So the lights that I used are these rice lights, and I got them from Amazon, and I got a pack of 15 for about £15. They work out about £1 each, which I thought was really good. And they come, there's different ones you can get, but I got just the pack I got, and there's, I say, 15 in them, and you've got some that are coloured like the ones I showed you, some that are warm lighting, and some that are bright white. Let me show you the other ones. So you can also get, there's ones with all three colours in, so that's the bright white, but you can also get packs that are all warm or that are all bright lighting. So I'm going to be using the warm lighting ones today, and what we're going to do is I'm going to be using some papers from an old Christmas pack, the first edition All That Glistens pack. Now I love this pack. I remember it coming out, and I literally had, I think it's from last year actually. Yeah, it was 2018, and I had my eye on this pack. I was like, I want that. I have to have that pad of paper, because that is such a gorgeous pad of paper. It's just got some superb designs in it. I mean, look at that. I mean, really. And that. Anyway, so I'm going to flick through them all. You can see them all on the outside. So I've chosen this snowflake one, and I've also chosen the tree. There's like a tree paper as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to make basically like a shadow box card. Now I've made shadow box cards before, and I've got a video tutorial for them, but I'm going to do this again because we're going to do it slightly differently. So you'll need a piece of card that is 10 inches by 10 inches. And this piece of card you are going to score at 1/2 inch, at 1 inch, at 1.5 inches, and at 2 inches. And you're going to do that on all 4 sides. Okay, so that's your piece of 10 by 10 scored. Now while we've got the scoreboard out, we'll just do one more thing. You also need a 6 by 6 card blank, or if you haven't got a 6 by 6 card blank, by that I mean a blank card, you know, one that opens up, that is 6 inches when it's folded. So when it's opened up, it's 12 by 6. So this card here is 12 inches by 6 inches. Okay, and so if you haven't got a 6 by 6 card blank that is actually 6 by 6, do check it, because some say they're 6 by 6, but they're actually 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. So if you haven't got a 6 by 6, then get a piece of 12 by 12 card and cut it in half, so you've got 12 by 6 inches, and then score at 6 inches. So then that makes a 6 by 6 card blank. Okay, I've had questions about what is a card blank. That is a card blank. It's basically a blank card. Okay, right, so that's what you need. So we're going to put this to one side for now. I'm going to do it as a tent fold because I feel like it's going to stand up better. I think if you do it that way around, it might fall forward because of the weight of the box and the weight of the lights. So we're going to do it as a tent fold. So what you need to do next is take your your scored piece, and you also need to take a pair of scissors. Now, excuse the motorbike going past very loudly. Now I'm just going to show you this picture so you can see what we're going to be doing, because obviously this is a very dark card on both sides, so you're not going to really be able to see until I've cut it out. So I'm going to do a quick show you the drawing that I did. So that is what we're heading for, okay? So I'm going to talk you through it now. I'm going to cut this out, and then you can see exactly what we're doing there, okay? So basically what we're doing is at the top here, you've got a set of 4 squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're going to cut. You actually need to mark halfway in as well here. I'm actually going to go through that now, but yeah, we'll go through it now anyway. That's what it looks like. So if you want to screenshot that or whatever, you can. So let's go through it. So what you're going to do, actually, we need our scoreboard back again because I forgot one little bit. So what you're going to do is put your card back onto your scoreboard. Where you've marked it, you've scored at 2 inches, just come in ½ an inch and score down 2 squares. Okay, so I've marked at 2½ inches, and I'm just coming down just to the bottom of that second score line. You also want to come across to the 7½ line, and again score down to the second score line. Okay, so 7½. And you're coming down to the second score line. Now what you want to do is flip your card over this way. So you're now doing the bottom, and do the same again. So at 2½ down to the second score line, and at 7½ down to the second score line. Okay, and I've only done it, you might be able to see it better this way. I've only done it at the top and the bottom, not on the left and right. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take our scissors, and we're just going to cut. We start with this bottom section here. We're going to cut up the line you've just done. So that's 2½ one. You're going to cut up that line like that. Then you're going to cut diagonally across to this corner. So this whole next section, you're going to cut diagonally across to that corner like that. And then you're going to cut down like that. It's like a zigzag, and then you're going to cut all the way across. Like that. So that is what your corner now looks like. Okay. And then we're going to repeat the same on this side, but like the mirror image of it. So we're going to cut down that little 7½ score line that we just did. Then we go across diagonally, then we go down, and then we go all the way across. Like that. Now we're going to repeat exactly what we did here. We can do the same at this top section here. What we're going to do next is we're just going to burnish, fold and burnish all our lines. Okay, so that's what you should end up with. So now what we're going to do is, now normally when we make a shadow box card with this template, we would normally fold this side up like that, and then fold the bottom up like that, and then we'd normally fold this over and make it into a box, a shadow box. However, like this is what we will be doing soon. But, and then you'd normally put, so you've already got your little frame, and then you put whatever you want in the front. And actually you can do that. So if you, for example, if you wanted to do the card, this card here, then that is what you would do. You would fold your shadow box up like this, and then you would cut yourself another piece, which would be 6 by 6, which is what this white one is. Cut your round circle aperture out of it, and then you would then cut out all your houses and start laying them in with the lights behind. Okay, now one little thing I am going to add in, I have hidden the light box. So the little box that contains the batteries for the lights, I've actually concealed it. Okay, and I've made it so that you can switch it on and off. You can just stick it to the back of the card if you want to, which is a lot easier, but I just didn't want that extra bulk behind the card. I want it to be literally half an inch, you know, deep, and then that's it. So I'm going to do this concealing thing again for this card, but I just want to show you, obviously at this point, if you want to do this kind of card and you've got like landscape dies like that, then this is how you do it. You do it like that, and you obviously mount that whole thing onto your card blank. But we're not going to do it that way. So the way that I'm going to do this one is, I've got a rather nice die here, and I think this would be perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this over, and we're going to have it this way round, and we're going to die cut this out of this side. So for this, what we need to do is we need to make sure, obviously, this is all open. And then, obviously, this needs to fit on an A4 die cutting machine. So in order to do that, I'm just going to lay this on here, and I'm just going to take my tabs and just fold them in half, basically, like that, because then that will fit. So let's turn that over and do it like that. These can go all the way out, that's fine. And then we just want to work out what we want to be top and bottom. I think we'll probably leave it like that. And then I'm just going to stick my die in the right place on the card, and then just washi tape it into place. Okay, so take the die off very carefully, and behind is left a beautiful scene. And I like the fact that I tried to choose a pattern that wasn't too busy, because I really wanted those two deers not to have any pattern on them. I don't mind the trees having pattern on them, that's fine, but I really want the deers not to have any pattern on them. Right, so now what we're going to do is we are going to make the little hole for the battery pack. So let's take the battery pack. So what we're going to do is, let me look at my other one. So I've done it at the very bottom edge. I mean, you can do it further up if you want to, but for this one, because I knew that's where my corner was going to be, I need to make sure I hid all of the battery pack. So on this one, we want it to go through this piece and this piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay my battery pack on here like that. In fact, it needs to be that way up, because I want the wire to go up and out, and then it can go round. So that's going to go there like that. So we just need to draw a little line here, so we know that's how wide it is. And then what we're going to do now, if you imagine this, what's going to happen is this is going to fold. So this is going to be the base. So because I want it to be there, I'm going to have to cut it from here. So I'm literally going to cut a slice out of there, like that. So I've cut a slice out of there like that, and then I also need to cut a slice out of here, because if you look at this, when you fold that round, that's the top bit. This is going to come back round here like that, and it's going to go there. So I now need to cut a slither out of here as well. So what I'm going to do is take my pencil, and I'm just going to draw a rough line where that is, And then I just need to work out which side it needs to be on. So if I fold this round, I can work out that this bit here is the base. So that's what, it's not going to be sat, it's going to be sat in there like that. And so if I turn it over, it needs to be this bit, this side that I'm cutting it, because then it will sit flat. So we're going to do that. So we're going to cut that little section out. So from there to there, halfway up to there, and then cut a little section out like that. Okay, now that looks very strange, I know, but you'll see in a minute how it works. So now what we're going to do is we're going to assemble our box card. So as I said before, they're going to fold up like that. And so I'm going to put some tape on here. And then I'm going to turn this, and I'm going to leave that flap there so that's sticky. I'm going to turn this whole thing over like that, and I'm going to fold it in half, because then when you pop that up, that's stuck. And I find it easier to do that rather than trying to do that and trying to hold it square. You can do that if you want to, but I quite like the fact that it's folded flat, and then you know it's definitely in place. So we're going to do the same with this one. You end up with two little boxes. Okay, right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to finish off assembling it. One thing I would say is put some tape on here before you close this one up, because it's a lot easier to do that rather than faffing around once it's closed. So put a little bit of tape on here like that. Right, so then we want to add on our tape along this end section here, so on the end piece there, and then we're going to peel the back off and stick it down. And at this point you want to get a bit of wet glue of some description and just put a little blob just here on this corner, and also on this corner, just there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to fold all this round to fold this round. This time we can't do it flat, so you're going to fold it round and you're going to stick it into position, and then stick that into position. Just take this off. Now I've just realised something. Where your little slit is, you're going to need to cut another section out. You need to cut a section out of this bit here as well, because the battery pack's going to go in there like that. In fact, I need to make it longer than that. So you basically want to go to the length of your battery pack. This is the fiddly bit. Right, so if you can see there, got a little hole for my battery pack, and so that is going to go in there like that in a minute. Okay, so let's fold and do this side anyway. That's the fiddly bit. The rest of it is not too bad, but that bit is fiddly. Now the beauty of doing it the way that we're doing it now is that you don't have to worry about these being nice neat edges. So normally if you have it this way around, which is the way you'd normally do it, you have to make sure that all these nice little corners are all nicely finished off. But because we're doing this the other way around, you don't have to worry about that. And what we're going to do now is I'm just going to stick, to hold it kind of all together, I'm just going to stick some double-sided red tape all the way around the outside, and that will help strengthen those mited corners that you've got there. Okay, so there's your frame. Right, so now what I want to do is put the lights in. So it's really up to you how you do your lights, depending on what your die is. And there are 20 lights on here, so it's quite a lot. You can just snip off excess lights from the end. So this is obviously the end of it. So say for example you didn't want the last 5, you wanted 15 but you didn't want 20, you could snip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you could just snip it off here and these would still work, but the rest obviously wouldn't. But I don't really want to, I want to use them all. And I might end up with a lot of wire at the back here. Anyway, let's see how we go. So next you want to put your lights in. So make sure that your lead stays inside. And you're just going to insert that like that and just make sure that your little switch is showing. And then just press down and it should sort of stick. There we go. Like that. It's not the best sticking going on there, but as long as you can access it, that's the main thing. Right, so then your lights, you then want to try and weave and stick into position. Now, you could use all sorts of different things to stick your lights down. I was using glue dots on this one to stick them into position. You could use sellotape, you could use hot glue gun, anything really. So I'm going to carry on and probably I'm going to use glue dots again because I found they worked quite well. So I'm just using these little adhesive glue squares, and they're only tiny. So, and then just basically go ahead and work out where you want your lights to be. Right, I think I'm happy with that. There's a little bit there, but it's not, and there's a little bit of the leg, but it is such a skinny leg, but I'm not too bothered about that. Okay, so let's switch them on, make sure they work. There we go. And then we're just going to take our card blank next. So you take your card blank. Now I've cut a little panel because I quite like those trees behind, like that. And you want to stick that nice and central in the middle of your card. Right, so after you've stuck your base down, your pattern down, you're then going to remove all this tape and stick this onto the front of the card. And then there you have your card ready to go. Just flick the little switch on the side, and there's your little Christmas scene. And all we need now is a greeting on here, and maybe some kind of, I might do some kind of border around the outside, or a frame or something. Yeah, and there's your little light up Christmas card. As I said, it was a bit, it's a bit, this is a bit involved, this making a slot, but if you wanted to, you could always put it at the top and just make a little hole and just have it coming through and sticking on the back, if you want to, but I just didn't want the extra bulk. I wanted it all to be, into, all encompassed. So there's your little Christmas card. So I hope you liked it. I hope you have a go. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.